Welcome to Bootstrapped Unicorns. I'm your host, Josh Pies, and this is the show where scrappy founders, rebellious visionaries, and business misfits pull back the curtain on what it really takes to build something extraordinary from absolutely nothing. No trust fund, no fairy god investor, just grit, duct tape, caffeine, yeah, and that dream. We're talking about the wild, unfiltered ride of turning chaos into cash flow and ideas into impact. So buckle up. This is no Disney movie, but there might be some magic. Let's face it, even Elon started in a garage. So without further ado, let's get to the next episode. Welcome to Bootstrapped Unicorns, presented by C47 Digital Studios. Bootstrapped Unicorns, we are back with another episode, and this one is a little bit special and near and dear to my heart because we're going to be talking about something that is one of the hallmarks of my childhood. It's the hallmarks of the town that I grew up in. And so most of you know I grew up in Rochester, New York. And though it's a city, it's a real city, it's a full city, it's a small town. And we operate as a small town in Rochester, New York. And if you don't know it, you're going to know it after this episode, that a centerpiece of our community is a stadium that I still slip and call Silver Stadium every once in a while. And it's the home of the Rochester Red Wings, and baseball is still king in our community. And I'm privileged to have Dan Mason, the general manager, on, who has been for 30 years, I believe, and he can correct me as soon as he's on here, for 30 years, the general manager of this cultural gem. And so entrepreneurs, you're listening because it's an entrepreneurship show. I know that. So what I want to drive home right now is what you're listening for in an episode like this is how to lead what is basically a movement. It's part of culture. How do you stay in the culture and in the mind's eye? I want to dig into that. But before we go there, you know we're a sponsored show. C47 Digital Studios, my business, is the anchor sponsor of Bootstrapped Unicorns. So if you're like, how do I podcast? How could I pull off podcasting? How could I do the same thing for my business? The answer is at makeitashow.com. So go to makeitashow.com. And there's a free ebook you can download there. It's about 40 pages that educates you on our entire business process and how we do what we do. And then you can figure out whether you're going to do it for yourself and your business. Go. If you do it, send me a message. I want to cheer you on. If you're like, ooh, I got to hire those guys, that is part of the plan, right? You want to hire us. And if you're like, ooh, that is a lot, I am walking away. Well, at least you walked away before you tried it and wasted a whole bunch of time. In any case, I applaud you. So you just got to go download that ebook at makeitashow.com. There's a whole bunch of other resources on there too. You can browse around. But without further ado, a man that I look up to, Dan, I truly do, because I've watched your career for so long. Dan Mason is here with us. How you doing, Dan?
I'm terrific, Josh. Thanks for having me on today.
Well, I'm thrilled. And Dan, we're going to dig into a little bit of your background real quick because I want to set the stage because I think it's apropos of what the Red Wings are and how local you are to the hometown of Rochester, New York. How did you find your way to be leading? I'm going to call it our organization because it's everybody's home organization. But how did you find your way here?
Well, senior year of college, like everybody, it's time to cut your hair and try and find a job. And
wait. Did you have hippie hair? Were you long and flowing?
Oh, yeah. You remember,
Come on. I got to see that picture. Send it to me.
I used to look like Willie Ames from 8 is Enough. I don't know. That may be over the heads of a lot of your viewers here today.
Oh, it'll totally be over the heads, but we can go find that picture.
All right. So I thankfully, when I was in school, I was interviewing, trying to find a job instead of trying to find something that I would enjoy. And I led the league in rejection letters in college, and it really forced me to think about what my passions were. And I kept coming back to the fact that I love sports. Now, as a guy that's 5'6" and 115 pounds, I was not going to make it in the NHL. I knew that. But I had to find another way to get into the world of sports and entertainment. And so I came home and interviewed with the Rochester Americans, the hockey team here, and the Red Wings. And the Red Wings offered me an unpaid internship. So you can imagine how excited my parents were when they found out.
Free work. Here we go.
I got my first job making nothing, still got to live at home, still got to eat their food, still got to drive their car. And best of all, Mom, you still get to do my laundry. And so the rest, but that's really what you need to do at the time to get your foot in the door in this industry. And after I was there for, a few months, a job opened up and I became the group sales director and just tried to be a sponge and learn every aspect of the organization. And then about 5 years later, in January of 1995, they offered me the general manager's job. And thankfully I've been here ever since.
That's awesome. And did you play sports as a kid?
Yeah, I played hockey and baseball and, obviously in the backyard, just all kinds of stuff, football and kickball and dodgeball and you name it. So, played.
How much did the movie The Sandlot speak to you when you saw that? Because I know for me, I felt very seen.
Oh yeah, it was, that is one of those quintessential baseball movies. And, I think it's in today's day and age, kids today, and I'm going to sound like my father, right? It's, sports today and play today is so organized. Whereas I think when we grew up, you would just get on your bike and put your mid on your 10 speed or your 2 speed and just ride over to your buddy's house and you would just play all day. And then when it got dark, you'd come home for dinner. And today it's very, very different. I see it even how my kids grew up. And I think it's even different from when they were kids. So, the way we play is a lot different than it used to be.
Now, is that affecting, we're completely tangential suddenly, but is that affecting how players are coming up now? Is there a different crop? And is it noticeable in a good and a bad way? What are you seeing with that?
No, I think today's players are a little bit more specialized. They played baseball most of their lives, whereas I think 30 years ago, 40 years ago, guys played a little bit of everything. They played football, they played basketball, they played hockey, or Now I think and this is more of a societal thing. Kids today have to kind of almost make a decision when they get into high school. What sport do you want to play? Because it's become harder and harder to play a variety of sports.
It is, yeah.
So, but for better or for worse, I think kids are becoming more specialized at an earlier age. But I mean, we still have the guys today are just incredible athletes. They're stronger, they're faster. When I first started in this business, the weight room was the least used room in the entire ballpark. It was really a storage area for us because nobody ever went in there. Now there's guys in the weight room all the time.
Yeah, well, we've had such an increase in available knowledge over the last 30 years that I think that's part of it. You can follow some guy's blog or his Instagram channel and notice that his deltoids are marginally larger than yours, and here's how he got them. Yeah. And so now you can pick at these little things because the data is widely available. I remember when I was a kid, we used to take our bikes down to what we called the Green Belt. I grew up in Henrietta, New York. You're a Webster kid, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And so we would bike to the Green Belt. I actually don't know who owned it. Somebody mowed it. So somebody felt like they owned it. But it was in the shape of a stadium because It had these two lines that were basically, first and third. Then it had this huge arch in the back, which would fall off into trees, and right behind it, cornfields. And so we would just bike down there. We'd have one bat, one ball. Everybody would either have gloves or hands.
Yep.
And we'd field as much of a team as we could. And then Carl, I'll leave his last name out of it because this is going to be embarrassing for him, would steal his dad's Playboys and put them in plastic and then bury them under certain trees and leave maps for people to find them. Yeah.
Wow.
Childhood, man.
I hear you. Yeah. There's nothing like playing wiffle ball in the backyard and, eating popsicles and drinking Kool-Aid all day. And,
that was summer circa 1990 for me, man. Right. And of course you were in the Red Wings organization by 95, right?
1990. I started, was my first year here with the team.
Okay.
And then in 95, I became the GM.
Wow. That was quick.
Well, my timing was good. I got to work for the great Joe Altobelli, who, a lot of people know Joe more for his prowess on the field and as a manager for the Baltimore Orioles and the San Francisco Giants. Won the World Series in '83 with the Orioles, but he came back to Rochester in '92 to become our general manager. And when he took over, he was the first person I can recall that really had an aura about him. When Joe walked into a room, all eyes were on him. He just had a presence about him like nobody I'd ever been around. And thankfully he took a shine to me, and I learned a ton from him. And nobody I've ever met knew the art of managing people better than him. And I really tried to emulate his management style. And he just said, like, hey, I'm not going to do this forever. My job here is to prepare you to do this. And when you're ready, I'll let you know. And so in January of 1995, he let me know.
That's unreal. So tell me about management. I mean, so he had a style and you're trying to emulate it. What does that mean?
I think it means more than just production from, number of tickets that you're selling or the number of advertisements that you're selling or hot dogs that you're selling. I think it's important to know what makes people tick. Different people, different people are motivated in different ways, right? And the key is finding out what motivates every person. And you have to treat people the same but different, if that makes any sense, right? You have to be fair to everybody, but you have to take an interest in every single person that works for you and make them feel like they are a contributing member of your staff, and help them to be the best, not only the best employee that they can be, but the best version of themselves that they can be, and help to teach them and help them be great people and future great leaders in your organization. And I think if you build that culture, then you'll end up having a consistent staff for a long time, which is really key for our business, is having people that are here. They know the ins and outs, because there's so many different intricacies of our business. And when you have people that have been around for a long time and they do it well, then you want to hold on to those people, because it is, our business is very unique. It's a very time consuming industry. You have to do this job well. You have to put in a lot of time and a lot of hours. It's not 9 to 5. And so you got to find the right people that are willing to do that and do it well. And I think being fiercely loyal to your men and your women that are on your team and here in the front office, I think that's really important too.
I love that term, fiercely loyal. That it shows up in behavior. You can't say that you're fiercely loyal. You just have to be it.
Yep. And hey, listen, we all make mistakes, right? And I think when you make a mistake is not the time to jump somebody and remind them, because most of the time when people make a mistake, they know they made a mistake, right? They don't need to be reminded what a terrible thing that they did or a bad job they did. What you need to do is try to, and it's not easy, but you need to try to make it a teachable moment, and hopefully a moment that they won't repeat, and they understand, but they know that, hey, these things happen. I still got your back, and let's move forward. There's no sense of looking back.
That makes sense. So, my mind right now is on how all consuming you were saying the industry is. How many kids do you have?
Two,
right. So you're an active, involved dad while running a very large organization. How does that work for you? Did you just kind of integrate them into the baseball lifestyle? Were they kind of a part of the team?
Yeah, I mean that people have asked me over the years, what's the hardest part about your job? And I would say, the time away from my family, right? So when you do get that time, you have to make the most of it. And I think you have to take the resources that you have at your fingertips, and maybe provide other opportunities to your kids and your wife that other people wouldn't have to do, right? Like, so when I was coaching my kids' little league teams and we needed a place to practice, we would practice here at Innovative Field.
Come on.
Oh yeah. And
That's cool.
those are memories that my kids will never forget, but also their teammates and their teammates' parents, so, the unfortunate for those other kids and those other parents is that I was the head coach. So they weren't probably learning as much about baseball as they could have from a better coach, but they got to practice here at Innovative Field, which was always pretty cool. And, we're in the memory making business, Josh. And so I try to do that for my family as well as for our fans. And my kids grew up here at the ballpark. They both, my son was a bat boy. My son worked on the grounds crew. He is now our director of ballpark operations. He's 26, and my daughter, who's 24, made cotton candy. She worked in the team store. She did graphic design for us. She worked as a suite level runner and suite attendant. So she's 24. She lives in Charleston now, doing social media for a furniture company. But I think not only they learned the how to work hard by being in this industry here, but also just how to behave as an employee, because they knew if they messed up that wouldn't be good for dad.
Fair enough. Yeah. What I like is that, I mean, you let them start at the bottom, which is really cool, because that also is kind of a parental leadership. There's other managers over them. You're letting them work still close to dad, but far enough away that they actually have to learn how to be a good employee. And so that kudos to you for avoiding the nepotism play and putting them, somehow at the top of the leaderboard there. So you mentioned that you're in the memory making business, and God, I could not agree more. I have told, I don't know, 1,000 people, it feels like at this point over the last year or two, that though the Savannah Bananas seem like they're bringing fun to baseball for the first time, which is, I've heard that phrase before. I'm like, you've never been to a Red Wings game then.
Right.
Because the Red Wings were innovating the play in the stands and the play on the field to make it a more holistic family event.
Right.
When I was little. And so, I mean, I'm younger than you. So in 1990, when you started as an intern, I was 10. I was coming and looking at where I wanted to eventually work myself as a player, of course, because at 10 years old, you're always going to be the player on the field. But you guys would do the dice drop, the giant dice. Do you remember that? Do you still do that?
No, we don't, because our backstop is different now. But trust me.
You need a new back. Get the old backstop back. That was so fun.
I hear you. Well, at the old ballpark at Silver Stadium, where you used to go to games in the early 90s, it was just a different configuration. But the dice game is something. It's funny you say that. That's something that sticks with a lot of people. So the two giant dice, and they'd roll down the backstop, and if it came up, doubles, double sixes, or double ones, somebody would win a trip to the Poconos.
I don't remember the trip. I remember the free hot dogs.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. We do the Pizza Hut pop-up contest, and the 6-foot Subway giveaway to a lucky section in the stand. So that's really, I think I went to my boss at the end of the 1990 season. I said, I think we need to start doing some things that keep the fans entertained between innings, right? It's the player's job to keep people on the edge of their seat during the game, but it's that 2-minute, gap between innings. We need to do more than just say, turn to page 23. And if the Milton Rod's ad is stamped, you've won a $25 gift certificate to Milton Rod's transmission, right? So that is really what we were doing, is just, telling people to buy a program and see if it's stamped and you'll win a prize. But we needed to do some stuff that was much more interactive. And that's what we started to do. So he said, well, okay, you're now the director of promotions and group sales. So
nice. He voluntold you.
Yeah. I said, does that mean I get a raise? And he said, no, you just get to do more. But in hindsight, that was the best thing that could have happened to me, because again, it allowed me the opportunity to do more than just one thing. I think in minor league baseball, your title is just a sliver of what you actually do. And getting to do promotions and ticket sales and advertising sales and customer service, all of that gave me the opportunity to be ready to be the GM when Joe wanted me to.
What does the GM title mean, actually? Because I get it. You got a lot of hats and a lot of different things to control. But I think a lot of people, myself included, sometimes I'll hear general manager of a baseball team and I think, okay, so somehow they're over the manager and they can pull some more strings about the players on the field, and got to make sure that the stadium mortgage is paid. But there's got to be so much going on. What is that job for you?
So a general manager in the minor leagues is completely different than a general manager in the major leagues. General manager in the major leagues is really responsible for the play of the team, and the construction of the scouting department and the minor leagues, everything to do with what happens on the field. A general manager in the minor leagues has nothing to do with what happens on the field. So if we stink, it's not my fault. That's what I like to tell people. It's really, we are, my title is general manager, but it could be director of fun, because that's what my staff and my job and all of our part-timers are here to make sure that when you, your family, your friends, when you come to a game, you have a great time. Whether the team wins or loses, we still want you to walk out those gates at the end of the night and say, that was worth my time and it was worth my money. And really, that's our job. And we control what we can control. It's not what happens on the field. It's if you get up and dance to something on the video board, if you laugh at a promotion that happens on the field, if you smile because the mascot just high-fived your kid, or you got an autograph, or you love the hat that we gave away that night to the first 1,500 fans, or the fireworks were incredible, after the game. So those are kind of the things that we control. The food and beverage, was your hot dog hot, and was your beer cold? Those types of things are the things that we focus on. And my job is to really oversee the business side of our operation more so than the baseball side. So ticket sales and advertising sales and marketing and broadcasting and, our accounting department and the groundskeepers. And then we have a separate general manager who handles strictly our food and beverage operation, which is a huge part of our business as well.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, food and beverage is absolutely intertwined with the experience. But I mean, if nobody in my Florida crowd probably has been to the stadium, but in my Rochester audience, we know that there's that kind of wraparound in the stadium, and you can walk, and how many vendors do you think are in there? I mean, there's a ton of them.
Oh gosh, we probably have, 15 to 25 different stands, depending on how big the crowd is that night. And we have incredible variety and really, really, really good quality ballpark food and non-traditional ballpark food as well. So you can come to 75 home games a year and you can get a different entree every single game.
Honestly, I'd come to 75 home games and have 75 garbage plates, but that's just me.
That's okay. You can do that too.
Yeah, it's truthfully, that is one of the things I miss about Rochester. I have to make them at home, and I do okay. Yeah. But there is still something magical about coming to the ballpark and either getting a Zweigel's dog or a garbage plate or something that's hyper local.
Absolutely. We're playing.
Yeah, and anybody watching this, if you don't know what a garbage plate is, just Google it.
Yeah, and we play as the Rochester Plates, this logo right here, every Thursday night.
I love that.
And then on August 20th, you'll appreciate this, Josh. So Rochester Zweigel's is celebrating the 100th anniversary of the White Hot, which is a unique hot dog. And we are playing as the Rochester White Hots on August 20th next week here.
Do you have custom jerseys for that?
Oh, custom jerseys, hats, all kinds of amazing swag. You can check it out at redwingsbaseball.com. Subtle plug.
That's phenomenal. And this goes to why Rochester Red Wings, I almost can't say the word Rochester without finishing the phrase and say Red Wings, because it really is, you've managed to have your finger on the pulse of what it means to be a Rochesterian. And, just willingness to celebrate a white hot dog. And I know for me, if you fire up the grill it's instantly, even if I don't have access to Zweigels, I'm telling a story about a Zweigels dog. I'm telling a story about missing the Zweigels dog and getting the ketchup on my Red Wings jersey at the stadium.
Yeah.
Like still, I'm 45 years old and I'm telling stories about the 1990s when that happened because it's so ingrained in culture. How much of that was deliberate and how much of that is just you doing your job as the director of fun and it just happens organically? I mean, are you thinking about that type of thing?
Oh, for sure. I think one of the things that we realized a long time ago is that any promotion that we do that elicits pride in our community is something that's going to resonate with our fans. You know, during the Lilac Festival last year, we played every game in our Rock the Lilac uniform and hat, and it was a huge hit. We used to do a night where we would call it Rock the Rock, and we took the City of Rochester logo and plopped it right in the middle of our Ball with Wings logo. And we still wear that logo quite a bit on the field. But, you know, celebrating things like Santa's Mountain at Midtown Plaza, where as kids in Rochester, we all went there, right?
Yep.
Sitting in a monorail car and explaining to your kids what that was all about, right? Playing as the White Hots, playing as the Plates, anything we can do to celebrate our community is something that we know is going to resonate with our fans.
That's outstanding. So I know upcoming you're being inducted into the Rochester Red Wings Hall of Fame. How did that, I mean, I know how it came about because you've been the centerpiece of driving all of this success. And I'll say that. I know you're too humble to say that, but like the whole community knows, Dan, how critically important you have been to the team and to Rochester. And whether you know it or not, you are well loved in the community for who you are and what you've done for everyone. So I'm thrilled that this recognition is being given to you. But is there a process? How did all of this come about? Do you know?
Well, first, Josh, thank you. But I really, this is something that I share with all the men and women that I've ever worked with, because one man can't do what we all do here. It's a total team effort. So all the men and women that have ever worked here in our front office, this is something that I hope they feel that they earned it, because they did. We earned it, not me. And there's a committee and they vote on it. And, so I'm very, very humbled by it. And I think, one of the coolest things about it for me is joining this club or this fraternity that, the four people that really shaped my career more than anybody, my mentors, are all in. And that's Naomi Silver, who's like a fourth sister to me. She's our president, CEO, and COO. And then Joe Tabelli, who I've talked about, was like a second dad to me. And then the president of our club when I first got hired, Ellie Kerwin, who was a fierce competitor. He kind of taught me that it's okay to be a competitor in the boardroom as well as on the playing field. And then Gary Larder, whose work ethic, he's our current chairman of the board, is just something that I've always marveled at.
That's outstanding. And it makes sense that you would share it because it is a team effort. And actually, I'd forgotten how integral Naomi is to the success of the team and the family legacy, because those who are watching probably might not know the history that the Silver family really was the driving force behind the Red Wings.
No doubt. And she's extreme, she's an amazing woman. And I think one of the most amazing things about her is not only her care for this team, which is a full-time gig, right? But our community. She loves this community, and she leads the league in board memberships, and the time that she spends on not-for-profit boards in our community is incredible. And the energy that she puts forth into those boards, because she's not somebody that just goes and, does it by name only. She gets involved in everything that she does. And so, I look up to her for a lot of reasons, but I think the care for um, our team, but also our community, is something that I really have always tried to emulate.
That's awesome. So what's the future of baseball right now? Maybe in general, but also of the Wings. What are you seeing coming down the road right now?
Well, the only constant is change, right? So you gotta, I look back to my time here when I first started. I mean, we had one computer in our office. We had a fax machine. I know there's probably people watching that don't know what a fax machine is.
AOL dial-up's going away officially this month. So we're going to lose the sound of the fax machine forever.
So sad, right? But the way that,
and a little weird that it's still going on, honestly.
Yeah. I hear you. But the way that people consume, there were no podcasts, there was no social media. So the way people consume our product now, and the newspaper industry, the newspaper here, we used to have two newspapers, right? The Times Union and the Democratic Chronicle. Now we have the Democratic Chronicle, but it's kind of I hate to say this, but it's a shell of what it used to be, right? They used to have a sports reporting staff of 20 or 25 people. Now I think it's 4. So it's just not the same, and how people consume Red Wings coverage is so different. And now, instead of us relying on the media to tell our story, which we still do, right? But we have to control that narrative with our own social media. And so it's just more people that it takes to do what we're doing here today, and to run our social media. And there's so many different platforms to reach, the younger crowd and the middle-aged crowd and the older crowd. So
it's a huge mandate, honestly.
Figure all that out and be nimble at the same time. So that's one of the challenges. There's always challenges, right? There's never a shortage of things for people to do. We're really in the entertainment industry. So how do people spend their entertainment time and their entertainment dollars? There's 57 channels and nothing's on, right? There's always something on TV, and that's or streaming now. So that is one thing that we go up against. The movies, golf courses, amusement parks, there's just a million things for people to do. So trying to make sure that our fans feel like, hey, this is really cool. This is really something that sounds like fun, and it's affordable, right? We're really pride ourselves on being affordable family entertainment, because there's a lot of things that are not as affordable these days either. And people are watching how they're spending their entertainment dollars. And
what's the price of a ticket these days?
You can get, every Tuesday it's half price tickets. So $7 or $14, you can get a ticket.
You see, that is truly affordable entertainment. Yeah, honestly, I mean, you go to a movie and it's $14 and you're in there for 90 minutes and that's it. You go to a baseball game, you're in for double plus the amount of time and a completely different and unique experience.
Yep.
And it'll never be the same. It's like walking into a river. You walk into a river, you're never in the same water. You walk into a baseball stadium. Yeah, it's the same game. It's the same team. It's the same pride, but you can never replay that game.
Right. Something different is going to happen. It's amazing. I'm around guys that have been this game, their whole lives. And, at least once a year, they'll see something that they've never seen before in a professional baseball game. And so every game is different. You're watching people here play that are going to be, future stars in the major leagues. Derek Jeter played against us in 1995. You may have even been at the game.
I actually think I was at the game.
Yeah. And people always say to me like, oh, you must have been sold out, man. And I go, well, actually, no, because Derek Jeter wasn't Derek Jeter yet. Right. Like people didn't realize who he was yet, who he was going to become. Cal Ripken played here for a full season in 1981. Were we sold out every night? No. But if he came here tomorrow, we would be packed. You know what I mean? So, we're seeing these guys, these young men, before they become these superstars. And you never know. We say it's history on deck every night here, because you never know who you're going to see on the mound or at the plate.
I love that phrase. Is that a specifically Red Wings phrase, or are other people co-opting that? Because that is one of the best phrases, the idea that it's history on deck.
We coined that phrase, I don't know, about 20 years ago or so.
Phenomenal. That is, I'm a groupie. I'm just a fan. So everything about the Red Wings is awesome to me.
Well, thank you. I'm a fan too, and we have to have that mentality, is like, what is going to make our fans tick? What is going to resonate with our fans? And you can't.
Are you obsessed with that?
Totally. Yeah. Well, I'm obsessed with my job. You know what I mean? It's not a 9-to-5 gig. It's, you see things on TV, or I'll be talking with my kids and they'll say like, "Hey Dad, like this Bluey thing, the little kids love this Bluey." So we're having Bluey here, on Sunday,
Really?
Oh yeah. So, stuff like that, or we'll be watching an episode of The Office and we'll think, what, we should parody that to promote our office night, or, so it's constantly thinking of things that are going to make our fans entertained.
So may I suggest that you do a race with the kids on Bluey night called the Grannies Race? Have you seen the Grannies episode yet?
You know what? I will be completely honest with you, Josh. I have not watched a single episode of Bluey.
Well, one, you're missing out. As an adult, I will find myself with the kids having walked out that I'm still 2 episodes in that they didn't watch. So they have really figured out something with that show where parents can see themselves in the parents and the situations.
Yeah.
And so many dads now are rocking these shirts that says, "I am Bandit," because Bandit Healer is the dad.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So they have this episode and you're going to have to go find it, really, because I think you guys got to do this. Picture this: a whole bunch of little kids. You get blankets like you would have for your couch, the little blankets, have them wrap them around their heads like their little granny, babushka granny, and get them walkers and canes. And they have to go around the bases as Bluey grannies.
Okay.
Just you'll see it when you see it. You go watch the episode, but all the kids and all the parents who have the kids watching it, they know what grannies are. In fact, I was at Buc-ee's. I don't know if you're familiar with the gas station.
Yes, the greatest gas station of all time, I'm told.
Correct. I was there last night, and they actually had Bluey action figures, and my kids were all gaga over them.
Yeah.
And there's one of them that is Bluey dressed up as Rita, the granny, with her own walker. I mean, this is a thing. So I think you got to do a granny race.
All right. Well, we may be able, after the game every Sunday, we let kids run the bases. So maybe kids will do it themselves, Or
well, they actually totally might. But I remember being invited onto the field for like third inning or something, and 4 or 5 kids get to race.
Yes.
And everybody gets a free hot dog ticket at the end of it. Everybody wins.
Yeah, everybody wins.
But flip the script and make it a granny race. I'm just saying.
I like it, Josh. We may
I could have worked for your team. I could have been there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, hey, Dan, I don't want to keep you too long because I know you've got games to prep for and whatnot, but I can't thank you enough for coming on. I know we tried to schedule this like 3 times, and thank you for landing it with us. One last question. If you're on a plane flying somewhere, somebody's, shocked that you work for a baseball team, what's your go-to story to give them just a surprise and delight? What story do you tell every time?
Oh, boy. There's so many. Oh, you stumped me on this one, Josh.
That's okay, because every once in a while, I do this where I've got like 3 or 4 go-to stories.
Yeah.
And so, you'll be sitting there and maybe you're waiting for a table at a bar and somebody goes, "What do you do?" And, I say I'm in film and television and podcasting, and instantly everybody wants to know if I've met somebody famous. And so I go into a couple of go-to stories, like the time I accidentally knocked George Clooney into a wall. True story.
I love that story.
Yeah, right. But I'm just wondering if you've got a Rochester Red Wings story where you're like, this one time during 7th inning stretch, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I would say, one time we did a promotion called the Diamond Dig. So we buried a diamond in the field, or we buried a poker chip in the field. And then at the end of the game, we invited 500 women onto the field, and we gave them a paint stir stick, like when you buy a bucket of paint, and they could use that to dig to try to find the poker chip. And the first woman to find the poker chip was going to win these diamond stud earrings. So they were worth like $3,000.
I
nice
have
earrings.
Chaos in my mind. Tell me more.
Yes. So we line up these 500 women on the warning track, and we say it's buried somewhere between first and third base in the dirt, right? So stay off the grass, but run to the dirt when we say go, and dig and until we find this poker chip. So we say, on your mark, get set, go. 500 women run onto the field, start digging feverishly. Infield's getting, torn
destroyed,
and nobody can find the poker chip. So I say, okay, everybody that's on the between second and third, I'm going to give you a clue. It's between first and second. So then everybody runs over. So now the 250 people that were on the, half of the field run to the other half. So now you have 500 women between first and second base on the dirt, on their hands and knees.
This actually sounds like a safety hazard.
Well, no, it was fine. It was fine. But still nobody can find the poker chip. So now this is going on maybe 10 minutes, and people are booing, because we have fireworks after this. People are saying, mean things, like, let's go. We want the fireworks. And so nobody can find this poker chip. So I run from the field back into my office. I happen to have an extra poker chip in my office, grab the poker chip, run back down, and I grab 4 of my guys, and I say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring all the women off the field again, and we're going to go around and in a huddle, like a football huddle, and we're going to dig 4 holes, and we're going to put the poker chip in one of these holes. And nobody will know who. So we do this we get all the women off the field. And many of them have left. They've gone back in the stands because they've had it
done. Yeah.
We bury the poker chip. We say, okay, 1, 2, 3, on your mark, set, go. They run out, and one of the women finally found the poker chip, but it was about a 15 to 20 minute between the end of the game and the fireworks. And so didn't make a lot of people happy, except for the woman who found the poker chip and got those really super cool diamond studies.
I'm glad you made good. Did anybody ever find the original poker chip?
No, never to be seen. So I don't know if a player saw us out there pregame and thought it would be really funny, which in hindsight, it is pretty funny. It wasn't funny at the time, but it makes for a good story, right? And
it really does.
It's like when you go on vacation and you have a mishap. At the time, you are frustrated as heck and it's miserable, but then you always have this fantastic story about how your bags got lost and you wore the same T-shirt and pair of shorts for 7 days in a row, right?
Yep, I've been there. That's fun.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you.
That's awesome. No, I love that you guys are innovating on really weird, fun ways. I'm sorry that one went sideways, but also kudos to you to making sure you made good. Well, Dan, again, I'm going to let you go, but thank you so much for hanging out with me, and stay on when we're done here, because I have a question for you that I can't ask on the air. And no, Bootstrapped Unicorns, you can't know what I'm asking, but hey, unicorns. So not only, I hope you had a lot of fun, because I am not only a huge Red Wings fan and a baseball fan, but I also just enjoy hearing a passionate leader speak about his leadership. And Dan, you did that in spades, and thank you. But I think we can all take a lesson from how bought in he and his team are into leading the mutual embrace of the community and the Red Wings and back and forth. That really is a gold standard for your business and my business. We really need to be irrationally bought in, not only to our business, but to our constituents. And if you can be that, irrationally bought in, air quotes around it, if you're listening, that level of commitment, clearly pays off in spades, and the Rochester Red Wings will continue to be the hallmark of the Rochester, New York community for many, many decades to come because of that level of commitment to what it means to be a Rochesterian. So until next time, Bootstrapped Unicorns, I want you to go and work hard, get your stick on the ice, as it were. We can talk about Amherst another time, and make sure that you are committed to your people because it does pay off. Now, get back to work.